The new guidelines recognize that whole, nutrient-dense food is the most effective path to better health and lower healthcare costs.
Have you ever stopped to think about what really goes into the foods you eat every day? From instant noodles, prepackaged salads, and hot dogs to white bread, farmed salmon, and even foie gras, the way these foods are made is full of surprises. Some are processed in factories, others are altered with chemicals, dyes, or hidden ingredients.
Every year, 15 million pounds of artificial food dye is put into food, and a lot of those foods are marketed towards kids.
And a few are made in ways that seem almost impossible to believe. Would you still eat them if you knew the truth? What secrets are hiding behind the labels you trust? Join us as we uncover 20 foods you'll never buy again after knowing how they are made. Number 20. Instant noodles. Instant noodles feel like a warm hug in a bowl. You tear open the packet, pour in hot water, and in just a few minutes, you have something soft and comforting. It feels easy. It feels harmless. It feels like the perfect little rescue on a busy day. But these noodles are not simply dried. They begin as refined white flour. During refining, most of the natural fiber and nutrients are removed. What remains is soft and smooth, but not very nourishing. The flour is mixed with salt and special alkaline ingredients. These give the noodles their yellow color and bouncy texture. The dough is rolled flat, cut into thin strands, and steamed. Up to this point, everything sounds simple. But here is the part most people never imagine. The noodles are deep-fried in very hot palm oil. This quick frying removes moisture so they can cook fast later. It also allows them to last for months on a shelf. Even though the noodles look dry, they have already absorbed oil. High heat can change the oil, and large-scale frying increases the chance of oxidation. Palm oil production has also been linked to heavy deforestation in tropical regions, affecting forests and wildlife. And just when you think the healthiest choice in the store must be the fresh green one in a clear box, wait until you see what really happens to prepackaged salads. Number 19. Prepackaged salads. A clear plastic box filled with bright green leaves looks like the safest choice you can make. It looks fresh, it looks clean, it looks ready to nourish you without effort. But the journey of those leaves is longer than you might think. The lettuce is harvested in huge amounts by machines. Once the leaves are cut, their natural protective surface is broken. A whole leaf has a barrier. A sliced leaf has exposed edges that hold moisture and allow bacteria to settle more easily. After harvest, the greens travel to processing plants. There, they are washed several times, often in water treated with chlorine solutions. Washing helps reduce bacteria, but it cannot remove everything. If contamination happens early, it can spread across many leaves during washing. The lettuce moves through many steps: cutting, rinsing, spinning dry, weighing, sealing. Every step means more handling. More handling means more opportunity for contamination. In the past, outbreaks of bacteria such as E. coli and Listeria have been linked to leafy greens because one contaminated batch can reach many stores. The plastic clamshell container protects the leaves, but it also creates waste. What looks clean and effortless may carry hidden risks. And while we are talking about foods that look simple but are carefully rebuilt in factories, let's melt into something even smoother: processed American cheese. Number 18. Processed American cheese. That shiny orange slice looks cheerful and friendly. It melts smoothly over burgers. It stretches gently inside grilled sandwiches. It feels creamy and predictable every single time. But processed American cheese is not just sliced cheese from a dairy farm. It begins with real cheese that is melted down in large industrial mixers. Then emulsifying salts such as sodium phosphate or sodium citrate are added. These ingredients keep fat and water from separating. Without them, melted cheese would become oily and uneven. Oils and whey protein may be blended in to change texture. Coloring is added to give that bright, uniform shade. The mixture is heated again until it becomes completely smooth. Then it is poured into molds or pressed into thin sheets before cooling into perfect slices. The goal is consistency. Every slice melts the same way. Every sandwich looks identical. This makes it ideal for fast food restaurants and mass production. However, this design brings high sodium levels and added ingredients that traditional cheese does not need. Emulsifiers and artificial dyes replace part of the simple process of milk, cultures, and time. Processed cheese is not shaped by nature alone. It is shaped by food science for performance, shelf life, and uniform melting. It may look like a harmless square, but it is carefully engineered from start to finish. And if you think bright colors always mean something natural, wait until you discover why farmed salmon looks so beautifully pink. Number 17. Farmed salmon. A fresh salmon fillet glows with a rich pink color. It looks wild and ocean-born. The color suggests purity and freedom in cold waters. In nature, wild salmon eat shrimp and small crustaceans that contain a pigment called astaxanthin. This pigment builds up in their flesh and creates that deep pink shade. Farmed salmon live very differently. They are raised in crowded sea pens. Instead of hunting freely, they are fed pellet-based diets made from processed fish meal and grains. Without added pigment, their flesh would be pale gray. To match what customers expect, astaxanthin is added directly to their feed. Farmers even use color charts to choose the exact shade of pink they want the fish to have. The color is planned before the fish even grows. Crowded pens can lead to parasite problems such as sea lice. In some operations, antibiotics are used to reduce disease risk. Waste from the pens can collect in surrounding waters, affecting local environments. Farmed salmon makes this popular fish widely available all year. It keeps prices steady and supply strong. But the image of a wild fish swimming freely does not reflect the controlled reality. That beautiful pink color is not simply a gift from the ocean. It is selected, measured, and managed. What seems natural is often carefully designed. Number 16. Commercial ice cream. Ice cream feels like pure joy. It is cold, creamy, and sweet. It melts softly on your tongue and makes everything feel lighter for a moment. But when you buy a large tub from the store, you may not be getting as much ice cream as you think. You may be buying a surprising amount of air. In large factories, ice cream is made in huge metal machines. The base usually begins with milk, cream, sugar, and flavoring. That sounds simple and comforting. But during churning, air is whipped into the mixture on purpose. This added air is called overrun. In some commercial brands, air can make up nearly half of the final product. That means a big scoop may contain much less solid ice cream than it appears. Adding air makes the product lighter and easier to scoop. It also lowers production costs. More volume can be created from the same amount of ingredients. The texture becomes fluffy instead of dense. That soft, cloud-like feel is carefully designed. But air is not the only extra thing inside. Many commercial ice creams include stabilizers and gums, such as carrageenan and guar gum. These ingredients help improve texture and prevent separation. They keep the mixture smooth. Artificial flavors are often added to create strong tastes, especially when real ingredients are expensive. Synthetic colors may also be included to make the ice cream look more vibrant and appealing. Another important detail is how ice cream stays soft even after weeks in the freezer. Without help, frozen desserts would form hard ice crystals. Stabilizers and emulsifiers reduce crystal formation and keep the texture creamy. This makes the product easier to scoop straight from a home freezer. And if you think heat only changes frozen treats, wait until you discover what intense heat does to vegetables sealed inside a metal can. Number 15. Canned vegetables. A can of vegetables looks simple and practical. You open the lid, heat the contents, and dinner feels complete. It seems like an easy way to eat greens all year round. But the journey inside that metal can is much hotter than you might expect. After harvesting, vegetables meant for canning are usually blanched. Blanching means they are briefly exposed to very hot water or steam. This step stops enzymes that would cause spoilage. It also helps clean the surface. However, heat-sensitive vitamins begin to break down during this stage. Once placed into cans, the vegetables are sealed and pressure-cooked at high temperatures. This intense heat is necessary to kill harmful bacteria and make the product shelf-stable for months or even years. The sealed environment protects the food from outside contamination, but heat can affect delicate nutrients. Vitamin C is especially sensitive to high temperatures. It can be significantly reduced during processing. Some B vitamins may also decrease. Minerals usually remain more stable, but overall nutrient levels may change compared to fresh produce. Many canned vegetables are packed in brine, which is salty water, or in sugar syrup. The added salt or sugar improves flavor and preservation, but it also increases sodium or sugar intake. And while some products were once promoted as healthier replacements, the story of margarine shows how science can take surprising turns. Number 14. Margarine. For many years, margarine was presented as a better choice than butter. It was promoted as modern and heart-friendly. But the story behind its creation is a complex experiment in food chemistry. Margarine begins with vegetable oils such as soybean, corn, or palm oil. Naturally, these oils are liquid at room temperature. To turn them into a spreadable solid, manufacturers once used a process called hydrogenation. During hydrogenation, hydrogen atoms were added to the oil under high heat and pressure. This changed the chemical structure of the fat and made it more solid. However, partial hydrogenation created trans fats. Trans fats were later linked to negative health effects, especially when consumed in large amounts. Because of growing scientific evidence, many countries restricted or banned partially hydrogenated oils in food production. In response, manufacturers developed new techniques. One method is called intraesterification. This process rearranges fatty acids within the oil to create a more solid texture without producing trans fats. Even though this avoids trans fats, margarine remains highly processed. Artificial coloring is often added to give margarine a yellow shade similar to butter. Flavorings may also be included to improve taste. And if you think chemistry spreads is surprising, wait until you see what happens inside brightly colored cans promising instant energy. Number 13. Energy drinks. Energy drinks promise speed, focus, and power. The cans are bright. The labels suggest performance and strength. They are marketed as tools for busy days and late nights. But inside those shiny containers is a carefully blended mix of stimulants and additives. The main driver of energy drinks is caffeine. In many products, caffeine is synthetic. It is produced in laboratories rather than extracted directly from natural sources like coffee beans. The amount can be high compared to regular soft drinks. Another common ingredient is taurine. Taurine is an amino acid that occurs naturally in the body, but in energy drinks it is often produced synthetically. It is included to support the stimulating effect of caffeine. Many energy drinks contain added sugars or artificial sweeteners. High sugar levels can create a quick burst of energy followed by a sharp drop, often called a crash. Some versions avoid sugar, but still rely on intense sweeteners to maintain flavor. Bright colors in these drinks may come from synthetic dyes. Some dyes are derived from petroleum sources. Preservatives such as sodium benzoate help extend shelf life and prevent spoilage. The effect pattern is important to understand. A rapid intake of caffeine can increase heart rate and blood pressure. Number 12. Pre-shredded cheese. A bag of pre-shredded cheese feels like a small gift. You open it, sprinkle it, and dinner is almost ready. No grating, no mess. Just soft little strands waiting to melt. It looks simple, it feels helpful, but those tiny shreds carry a quiet secret. When cheese is freshly grated at home, it is moist and slightly sticky. The natural oils on the surface make the pieces cling together. In a factory, that stickiness is a problem. If thousands of bags were filled with plain shredded cheese, the pieces would clump into one solid mass during shipping. To stop this, Manufacturers add anti-caking agents. One common ingredient is cellulose. Cellulose is a plant fiber. It can come from wood pulp or other plant sources. It is safe to eat and used in small amounts, but it is not cheese. It coats the shreds and absorbs moisture so they stay loose inside the bag. Potato starch is sometimes added for the same reason. Because of this coating, pre-shredded cheese often melts differently. When heated, it may not become as smooth and creamy as freshly grated cheese.
Publix says that cheese, which is made by the Great Lakes Cheese Company, may contain foreign material.
The anti-caking agents can create a slightly grainy texture. Instead of forming a silky layer over pizza or pasta, it may stay a bit separated. There is another detail many people do not think about. Cheese that is sold in blocks often shows its quality clearly. You can see its firmness and natural texture. When cheese is shredded in a factory, it becomes harder to notice small imperfections. And if you think shredded cheese is designed for convenience, wait until you see what food must go through to survive untouched on a shelf for years. Number 11. Canned meat. It can sit quietly in a cupboard for years. No refrigerator, no freezer, just a sealed metal can wait patiently. That kind of survival sounds impressive, but what does meat have to become to last that long? Canned meats, such as Spam and corned beef, begin with cuts of pork or beef that are often ground or finely chopped. The texture you see when you slice it comes from this blending process. Grinding allows the meat to be shaped and packed tightly into cans. Salt plays a major role. Large amounts are added to help preserve the meat and enhance flavor. Nitrites are also used in many cured meats. Nitrites help prevent bacterial growth and maintain a pink color. Without these preservatives, the meat would spoil quickly. After mixing and seasoning, the meat is placed into metal cans. The cans are sealed tightly and then heated under high pressure. This pressure canning process destroys harmful bacteria and creates a vacuum seal. Once sealed and cooked, the contents can remain shelf-stable for a very long time. This long shelf life makes canned meat useful during emergencies and in places where refrigeration is limited. It became popular during wartime and in situations where food needed to travel long distances. However, there are health concerns linked to processed meats. Some studies have found associations between high consumption of processed meats and increased health risks, including certain cancers. Sodium levels in canned meats are often extremely high. Regularly eating large amounts can contribute to high blood pressure and other issues. And while canned meat is built to last, bottled smoothies are built to look fresh, even when their living nutrients have faded away. Number 10. Bottled smoothies and juices. A bright bottle filled with colorful liquid looks full of life. It promises fruits, vegetables, and natural goodness. The label often shows fresh produce, shining with dew. It feels like drinking health in one easy sip. But most bottled smoothies and juices go through heat pasteurization. This process is used to kill harmful bacteria and make the drink safe for longer storage. The liquid is heated to high temperatures for a short time, then cooled quickly. While pasteurization protects against illness, heat can reduce certain sensitive nutrients. Vitamin C is especially delicate and can decrease during heating. Natural enzymes found in raw fruits and vegetables are also affected by heat. These enzymes are not essential nutrients, but they do not survive the process. After pasteurization, the bottles travel through a cold storage distribution chain. They are refrigerated during transport and while sitting on store shelves. Even with cooling, nutrient levels can slowly decline over time. Many bottled smoothies contain concentrated fruit juices or added sugars to enhance flavor. Even when no sugar is added, fruit-based drinks can be naturally high in sugar because the fiber from whole fruit is often reduced or removed. Without fiber, sugar is absorbed more quickly by the body. The drink may still contain vitamins and minerals, but it is not the same as freshly blended fruit consumed immediately. The longer the time between processing and drinking, the less vibrant some nutrients become. The bottle looks alive and glowing, yet much of what made the fruit fresh has already changed. What remains is a sweet liquid that is safe and convenient, but not always as nourishing as it appears. And while these drinks travel through cold trucks and bright refrigerators, there is another food quietly produced on massive industrial lines every single day: the humble egg. Number 9. Factory-farmed eggs. An egg looks simple and pure. Smooth shell, gentle shape. It feels like one of nature's most perfect foods. But in large-scale factory farms, egg production is often far from peaceful. In many industrial systems, hens are kept in battery cages. These cages are small and stacked in rows inside large buildings. Each hen has limited space to move. Natural behaviors such as spreading wings, dust bathing, or nesting may be restricted. Artificial lighting is carefully controlled. Light cycles can be adjusted to encourage more frequent laying. By managing light exposure, farms influence the hens' internal clocks and production patterns. Because many birds live close together, disease can spread quickly. To reduce this risk, antibiotics may be used in some operations. Practices vary by country and farm, and regulations have changed in many places, but large-scale production still focuses heavily on efficiency. Number 8. Hot dogs. That smooth, perfect tube of meat, it never existed in nature. Hot dogs begin with leftover meat trimmings.
Eating meat on bread is one of summer's simple meals. It's easy to make, it's easy to eat. Hot dogs are especially great because of all the great add-ons.
After prime cuts are removed from beef, pork, or poultry, small scraps remain on the bones. These scraps are collected and sent through a mechanical separation machine. The carcass pieces are forced through a metal sieve under pressure. Soft tissue passes through. Hard bone does not. What comes out is a fine meat paste. This paste is not just lean meat. It can include fat, connective tissue, and tiny bits of skin. The texture becomes smooth because everything is ground and blended until uniform. Water is added to help with mixing. Starch may be included to improve structure and hold moisture. Seasonings give flavor, but preservatives play a major role. Sodium nitrite is commonly used. It helps prevent bacterial growth and keeps the hot dog looking pink instead of gray. Without it, the color would not look so appealing. The mixture is pumped into casings, shaped into links, and cooked. After cooling, they are packaged and sent to stores. The final product looks neat and consistent, far removed from its original parts. Hot dogs are convenient and affordable, yet behind their simple shape is a highly processed blend designed for long shelf life and uniform taste. Number 7. Fake maple syrup. Pancakes covered in golden syrup feel warm and comforting, but not every bottle on the table comes from a tree. Imitation maple syrup is usually made from high fructose corn syrup. This sweet liquid is produced from processed cornstarch. It is much cheaper to make than real maple syrup. Artificial maple flavor is added to copy the taste people expect. Caramel coloring gives it a deep brown shade that looks natural. Real maple syrup has a very different story. It comes from maple trees. Farmers tap the trees and collect sap during a short season each year. The sap is mostly water. It takes about 40 gallons of sap to produce 1 gallon of pure maple syrup. The sap must be boiled for hours to remove water and concentrate the natural sugars. This process requires time, fuel, and careful attention. Because real maple syrup is labor-intensive and seasonal, it costs more. Imitation syrup, on the other hand, can be produced year-round in factories. The bottle may look similar, but the contents tell two very different stories. One rooted in forests and patience, the other built in industrial tanks with added flavor. Number 6. Artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners promise sweetness without calories. They are found in diet sodas, sugar-free snacks, and many processed foods. The taste is intense, often much sweeter than regular sugar. Common types include aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin. These compounds are created in laboratories. Only tiny amounts are needed to produce strong sweetness. Because they contain little or no calories, they became popular for weight control. However, Sweetness without sugar can still affect the body. Some research suggests artificial sweeteners may influence insulin response. Even without real sugar, the brain senses sweetness, and the body may react in complex ways. There is also discussion about whether intense sweetness can increase cravings for sugary foods. Another concern is environmental persistence. Artificial sweeteners are not fully broken down during wastewater treatment. Small amounts have been detected in rivers and lakes. They provide sweetness without energy, yet their long-term effects are still being studied. The promise sounds simple, but the science continues to unfold. Number 5. Farmed shrimp. Seafood sounds clean and natural until you see where it is actually raised. Many farmed shrimp are grown in man-made ponds near coastlines. These ponds are often heavily stocked, with large numbers of shrimp crowded together. High density increases the risk of disease. To reduce outbreaks, antibiotics may be used in some operations. The ponds require feed, chemicals, and careful water management. Waste from shrimp and leftover feed can build up in the water. If not properly treated, polluted water may be released into nearby coastal areas. In some regions, mangrove forests have been cleared to create shrimp farms. Mangroves protect coastlines from erosion and provide habitat for many species. Their destruction can harm local ecosystems. Shrimp farming supplies global demand and makes shrimp widely available. Yet behind the clean image of seafood is an industry that can carry environmental challenges. The shrimp on your plate may look small and simple, but its journey from pond to market is far more complex than it seems. Number 4. Commercial white bread. A loaf of white bread looks soft and gentle. It feels light in your hands and smells warm and inviting. It can sit on the counter for many days and still look almost the same. That long-lasting freshness comes from heavy refining and careful formulation. White bread begins with wheat kernels made of bran, germ, and endosperm. The bran holds fiber. The germ contains vitamins and healthy fats. During refining, the bran and germ are removed. Only the starchy endosperm remains. This creates fine white flour, but much of the natural nutrition is lost in the process. The flour is mixed with water, yeast, salt, and often sugar. Large bakeries frequently add dough conditioners to improve texture and speed up rising. Preservatives help prevent mold so the loaf stays soft longer. Small amounts of sugar support browning and flavor. The result is bread that slices neatly and feels pillowy. However, because it is mostly refined starch, it digests quickly. This can lead to fast rises in blood sugar, followed by drops in energy. White bread became popular because it was once seen as cleaner and more modern than darker loaves.
Sliced white bread is a staple of many Kiwi homes, but new data out today shows
Today, it remains common because it is affordable and widely available. It looks simple and pure, yet it is shaped by intense processing and added ingredients designed for softness and shelf life. Number 3. Gelatin desserts and marshmallows. Gelatin desserts wobble on a spoon. Marshmallows feel airy and sweet. They look playful and innocent. Yet their base ingredient begins in a very different place. Gelatin is made from collagen, a protein found in animal bones, skin, and connective tissue. In processing plants, these parts are cleaned and boiled for many hours. Heat breaks down collagen into gelatin. The liquid is filtered, purified, and dried into powder. This powder has a unique ability. When mixed with warm water and cooled, it forms a soft gel. That is what creates the bounce in gelatin cups and the stretch in marshmallows. To turn gelatin into treats, manufacturers blend it with sugar and corn syrup. In marshmallows, air is whipped into the mixture, creating a fluffy texture before it sets. Artificial flavors and bright colors are often added to make the products more appealing. The transformation is dramatic. What begins as animal collagen becomes a jiggly dessert shaped into cubes or tiny pillows. The origin is rarely considered because the final product looks cheerful and light. Number 2. Fraudulent olive oil. Olive oil is often seen as pure and traditional.
To the index tonight into that new study about olive oil in your diet. Researchers from Harvard now say olive oil may help lower your risk of dying,
especially when labeled extra virgin. True extra virgin olive oil is made without heat or chemicals and must meet strict flavor and acidity standards. However, some products have been found diluted with cheaper oils like soybean or sunflower oil, sometimes with added coloring. This allows companies to lower costs while charging premium prices. Authentic extra virgin oil usually tastes slightly bitter or peppery, while diluted versions are milder. Choosing trusted producers is essential to ensure quality and health benefits. Number 1. Foie gras. Foie gras is known as a luxury dish made from the enlarged liver of a duck or goose. Its production centers on a method called gavage. During this process, birds are fed large amounts of corn mash through a tube inserted into their throat. Feeding happens over a short period and causes the liver to grow far beyond its natural size. The enlarged liver develops a rich and smooth texture that supporters consider a delicacy. This method has sparked strong ethical debate. Animal welfare groups argue that force-feeding causes stress and suffering. Because of these concerns, foie gras production has been restricted or banned in several regions. The product has deep roots in culinary tradition and remains present in high-end dining. Yet, mortality rates during production can be higher than in standard poultry farming, and the intentional enlargement of the liver is central to the controversy. Foie gras stands apart from other processed foods because the debate is not about additives or hidden ingredients. It focuses on animal treatment and ethical responsibility. On a fine plate, it may appear refined and elegant. Behind it lies a practice that continues to divide opinion across the world. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.